Good morning, trade pros. I hope you are all doing well. Let's get into business today. We got a great update planned for you. I don't have the big lights, so I don't know how the lighting's going to be, but hopefully it auto adjusts here in my office. I hope you're doing good. Bit of a later start, but it's okay. I had some notes to put together for you. Um, we don't have the longest update because there hasn't been much news. We'll jump into it. So in the S&P 500, we are down this morning, pretty firm down. Nasdaq as well, Dow and Russell, the small cap index is leading the way down. So it is Friday. It is the last trading day of the week. Um, I got like 7 hours and 52 minutes of sleep on my Aura ring. Actually, let me see how much. My sleep score is 88, 8 hours and 48 minutes. I fell asleep for a nap last night. And the nap lasted all night, so I feel great. I finally feel normal myself again. Like if you look at my stats, yesterday I slept 5 hours and 50 minutes, Wednesday 3 hours and 58 minutes, Thursday 4 hours and 25 minutes, Monday 5 hours and 20 minutes, Sunday 5 hours and 30 minutes, and it goes back to Saturday of this past week that I've slept over 7 hours. So I kind of needed that sleep. I'm alive. I'm rocking. I'm ready to get to business. All right, equity markets are down. Fridays tend to be, I was gonna say, sleepy, like, but I know nothing about being sleepy. Well, actually, I do. I know everything about being sleepy. I'm always sleepy. Um, Friday markets tend to have a bit of a bullish skew into the late evening, late afternoon session. Not evening, but afternoon, like into the close bell, 2 to 4 p.m. We tend to see some upside bid. Keep that in mind, but we are off to a pretty weak start. Russell being down 1.3% is not a good sign. That means it's a broad market sell off, and small caps are leading weakness. Tech stocks are not doing good as well. We had the Chicago PMI this morning, and that report came out pretty worrisome. So the PPI is the producer price index. We also had that this morning at 8:30, and as soon as it hit the wire, the market got really bearish. All right, and I was just doing the notes, and fun fact, I got a trade off of it. I started the day really good, nice little pre-market trade. Saw the news, lined up with a lot of levels, and just gave it a shot. I didn't do too well yesterday. Yesterday I had a lot of tech issues. I'll tell you about it in a second. But PPI came out this morning 3.6% versus 3% expected. And, as producers have increasing prices, they tend to pass that down to consumers, which is an inflationary type scenario. So, this inflationary increase kind of worried the market a little bit. And, it's not good for rate cuts. And so if the Fed's not going to cut and it ends up increasing inflation, then it's not going to be a cut. Um, that worries the market because they're trying to get a rate cut so it could be risk on for capital. All right, so that's the report that kind of shook up the market a little bit. Big story overnight. That's how slow of a news day it is. Is Dell? Dell's quarter four EPS came out at 389 versus 351. That's a really big beat. Revenue was 33 billion versus 31 billion. That's a big beat as well. All right, new revenue target is 50 billion of revenue, which is AI revenue, which is huge. All right. And dividend increased 20%. They added $10 billion to their buyback, yet the market's down. Right. And this is kind of similar to Nvidia yesterday. Nvidia blew things out of the water and nobody cares. Down we go. And I think it's just, you know, tech strength on an isolated basis in these small names, meeting massive market rotation out of risk. There's some fears as we start the new year, and they're continuing. All right, so we continue the downside. Nvidia walked away from a $27.70 per share offer from Warner Brothers. They declined to match the 31 share deal, and so that fell through. I know one of my friends was saying, "Hey, I'm long Netflix, and I don't know if this acquisition deal is going to get done. And I think if it doesn't get bought out, I think it might be good for the company. And if it gets bought for, oh, it might be good short term for the company. And Netflix is up, so some intelligence there for my friend. Warner Brothers is down. Key themes is Dell this morning. It didn't do too well. I wouldn't really anchor my whole ship to it, but something to watch. Russell's down 1.3. The RTY futures are something to watch this morning session because they are sort of pulling everything down. They're down the most and triggered this whole sell off. Chicago PMI is at 945. That's something quickly after the bell that's coming out. Right, PPI was already high, and that's kind of how we're set up going into the Friday. All right, if we are going to get a massive reversal rally, then we're kind of in the right place to do it because bull days open weak and close strong. So a weak open would look like pushing down, but not able to reclaim a new low, only to reverse higher. Then I think we got a lot of buy stops cooped up, but we could also have a runaway day. So let's go turn around and set up the trading plan. This way, I think turning around is, and let's get to work. All right. Well, then, allow me to open the notes on my screen because the notes are not opened on my screen at the moment. And I will screen share with you and turn off the video. All right. This is it. You should be seeing it. Uh, Let me open up the trading notes or the plan or whatever the heck you want to call it. We'll put it here for now. And let's talk about this stuff. I'm going to make it so you can only see the part I'm talking about. All right. So the story in the US session yesterday. What was the story in the US session yesterday? I'll tell you this. The story was one of tech challenges for me and just general frustration. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was not good. It was not a good story to tell. But in a way, it makes it kind of the best story to tell. All right, here was the story. So we opened up at 69.60 yesterday. Okay, we did have a bullish plan, but the flip zone was 44, meaning that we're only going to be bullish and foolish above 44. But if that breaks, I think the downside will open up. That was the plan. Well, sure enough, we saw the sellers come in and pretty much not give buyers any chance to set up. And I said, this looks pretty crummy if it's going to be a bullish day. Hang on. And then we go and we break the flip zone. And the flip zone was right here, this gray area. And these three wicks into that gray area was the absolute best setup of the day. It was a transition point. It broke. We flipped to the short side. And everything set up so perfect, except these are my eyes, and this is a cross through them. I did not see it. My Sierra charts was frozen. My TPO chart took way too long to load. I had to delete it. It's still not on the setup. I'm gonna work on it this weekend. But one other reason I don't like TPO, it takes too long to load, and it's not really super useful. It clonked out my whole setup. I had to ditch it, and I'm fine with it. All right. That was the setup, and by the time I turned my freaking monitor or my Sierra charts back on, we were right here down into these like mid 20s. The downside to that, of course, hang on. The downside to that, of course, was that by the time I started the platform working again, I missed everything. This was also a great short here. These 30s, they were very qualifiable. So this is the first best trade. This is the second best trade. People in the room in our trading community that were up on these two and then just watched the rest of it. Because when the rest of it started unfolding and this market came unglued, you didn't have too many rotations to get into. You kind of just had to sell, which is fine. Some people can do that. Other people that are just starting out learning, it isn't the best idea for to just get short as markets are hitting new lows because oftentimes it reverses. But not yesterday. All right. So after the tech issues and things were going down, we set the PDL at 68.73 quarter. It's the prior day low here. And then we said, hang on tight. We're at the 80. This is a big level, big support. Huge big buyers from a couple session ago around these levels. You can't see it to the left. I'm not going to move it. But we had some big support here at the 72s. Like, this is a big drop. Look for the retest. And we tried the retest once. I got stopped here. And then I tried it second time at the 04 here. Had kind of a split trade, had some profitable, some didn't. And the last one here, I just couldn't set up. The room was over. I had tech issues again, and I said the hell with it. But that was the best trade as well. It was the third one. So really, I had tech issues for 3 of 3 good trades, and I got jammed up with 2 crappy ones. And that's how the day goes sometimes. I wish I was able to get on at the 44. 44 was perfect. It was planned. It was the transition zone. The flip zone is the best trade of the day because the whole structure is flipping. And when it flips, if you have a good flip zone, it should continue pretty swiftly. It shouldn't dice around your level too much. Like here, 2 touches, 2.5, because this one's much lower than the prior low, or the prior high rather, and down we go. We just let go of everything. So that was a great, fantastic trade. And I don't know. It is what it is. Didn't get too upset. I just had to react. We had we didn't break and we rallied the prior day cash. Oh, this I didn't read out. So we kind of the trade worked on this one as well, but we couldn't break a new low, and then we rallied up into the close. So kind of more two-sided trade in the afternoon. Prior day cash close is 21 half, right near where the 24 is, which is our flip zone today. It did form a higher high. We do have kind of a higher low, but you'll see that doesn't matter now anymore. Volume was 1.55 million, which is higher than the last 2.5 days. And it's a down day, so it confirms the price action was the right way to go downside because volume was elevated. And the range was 89 and three quarter points. Quite significant range to the downside. All right, here's a story overnight. It's not really too long of a story to tell. Oh, we're seeing the overnight as well as we speak. Just trying to zoom in a little bit, for goodness sake. There we go. Because now you're only seeing pretty much the overnight session. The story of the overnight is an easy one to tell. So Globex reopened and we continued straight lower. Then after we reopened, the rally and the high into Globex was the 15 half. And it didn't really hold for too long. We sold off. I wake up and starting to do the morning update and the morning notes. All right, and I'm seeing this thing at the just broke the prior day low at the time, the overnight low. And I'm like, man, this thing is just so weak. And then we got a lot of glitchy price action. You could see it here. In fact, I'll show you where you could see it even more. And that was the PPI report. People ask me, what do gaps and low liquidity look like? This little box here. This is literally 63 to 57, 6 points right here of price movement without a single trade in them. All right, it got a little dicey and choppy, but we did see a lot of heavy sell imbalances. I thought that area would get defended, sold it, comes down. I covered it pretty quick because, I wasn't going to guess that it was going to break a low. I wanted to see it first. On the rotation up, I had a few more lots to sell here, but I didn't get more than the one because it didn't get up that high. So I canceled those and closed everything out here near these support levels. Now up we go. All right, so that was a pre-market one, and it coincided with this level here, but we couldn't break new lows. And so for the pre-market or the overnight rather price action, we have a new overnight low at 68.51. Okay, volumes are now 227,000, which is really good. And that sets us up for a trading plan today. I would say that given all of this taking place, I almost want to go ahead and move the flip zone right down to the 80. And just say, you gotta above 80, you're gonna start to climb out to the upside, because you do have now sort of a new higher low will form by then. You don't have a new higher high. Structurally, it's not technically like the best thing to do this, but just keep that in mind. 68.80 could be the last area to try to get on the short, especially if it's afternoon and the bulls grab this thing. They could really send it flying up into like the 20s for the closing bell, right? Maybe even higher. So the trading plan though was still built before we got the new prior day low or the new overnight low rather. I'm gonna go with it for now. The flip zone moves down from the 44 to the 24. The 24 is here. This is a structural accommodation for the flip zone. All right. That's 20 points lower. It gives us lower high structure to hold. So we have some protection there on our flip zone. We got to see sellers break into the 60s today. We've already done that. And then retracements become qualifiable. So now we're in retrace mode. And I said it's Friday, and on some Fridays we're prone to super bullish late afternoons. But for the open, we expect to see some buy stops first. All right, meaning like see this thing rally up, hit some of the resistance, and then go down. If it's one of those sellers hit it from the opening bell, you're gonna have to get aggressive on the short. You're not gonna wait for these big pullbacks. All right, we're gonna just have to hit it over the head. Um, okay, the levels are 68.84, so this level still holds, but it's kind of too high for me at this point. Wait, hold on. Okay. Just shift D. There you go. It's 84. It's, you might be selling it now. This level was there when we couldn't break the low for a retest downwards. At this point, I would say the new and best level here is 72 to 73, and the 80. In fact, I'd say these are probably the only two ones you want to try and then be patient after that. All right. I'll still leave these because they're technically still there and they're qualifiable. We just need to see order flow support in that zone. Targets for the day 68.52. We pretty much got it because overnight low is 51. We got that level. So we've already checked off the target. 68.24 is the next one down, and 68.04 should be the ultimate. We have the 1 day minimum based on options volatility calculated at 68.57. So you see, we've already broken that. So we are in outlier territory. Net gambling exposure is only minus 0.99 million. So it's not big at all, but dealers should be chasing the market, meaning as we hit these levels to the downside, we should be getting dealers to sell futures on the way down and buy them on the way up. The flip zone for that is 6,900. So we're in firm negative delta or negative gamma. We're probably more negative now. All right. Put support level was 68.50, which is right here. So it's interesting because it's downtrend meeting gamma level support, meeting put support for the 0 DTE. And, we should be able to break the 51. Dealers could chase, but we'll see. All we know is 68.50 is at play. We're looking for a retest to sell. All right, that's the trading plan. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Let me see the YouTube comments because I haven't had a chance to yet. Um, pardon me. I obviously don't like coughing in your face. Morning, Prashant, Marco. Thank you, Marco. You notice? I look more refreshed, more sleep. I'm kind of like sleeping with 8.5 hours of sleep. I mean, living with it, I'm just like, whoa, I'm getting used to it. It's a weird feeling to feel energized and truly refreshed. But yeah, thanks for pointing that out, guys. I love you. Have a great weekend on YouTube. Check us out on the trading, or the order flow vault at tradeproacademy.com. And, I'll keep it honest with you. We've had a pretty tough week, personally, tech wise, travel. And I'm just looking forward for Friday to be done so I could kick things off again on Monday, back into the routine, back into the momentum. It'll be great. Surprisingly, it's not a really bad week for me profit wise. I'm almost like I'm positive, not that positive, but it's just been a week where I've mentally been beat up with getting on a plane last minute, the flying, to coming back, to like technology pooping out on me, keyboard that still doesn't work. I'm very thankful I get 2 days to just work on things and tighten up again. I need it. All right. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Let's see what the market brings today. Check us out the Order Flow Vault. The live course is continuing next week. We are pushing forward, and you still get a chance to get on board without feeling like you're too far behind with the live program. Check us out. Have a great weekend. Don't get in too much trouble, but still have some fun. Goodbye, YouTube. Trade pros in the room. Hang tight. We'll look at some more order flow stuff and set up the rest of the day.